George Harrison started something during the 1968 White Album sessions when the Beatles were often scattered across different Abbey Road studios and working separately. And that detail matters because the song didn't arrive as a grand band project at first. It began almost like George sneaking away from the chaos and finding a quiet corner where one of his greatest melodies just simply appeared. He later worried the melody had come too easily and might have belonged to somebody else, which is a very George Harrison sort of problem. He writes one of the most elegant songs in the Beatles catalog, then immediately suspects it's accidental theft. But the first line did come from James Taylor's Something in the Way She Moves.
There's something in the way she moves, or looks my way, or calls my name.
Harrison kept it because it fit the song and because he couldn't find anything better. The usual story is that Something was written for Pattie Boyd, Harrison's wife at the time, and Boyd herself later said he told her it was for her. Harrison complicated that story over the years, though. He said he had Ray Charles in mind as he imagined the singing voice, and later downplayed the idea that it was a love song to Pattie.
Something in the way she moves.
That ambiguity is part of what makes it work, because it can sound like romance, also worship, uncertainty, devotion, or all of those at once, which is also very George. Before the Beatles released the song, it nearly belonged to somebody else. Harrison originally offered it to Jackie Lomax, then gave a demo to Joe Cocker, whose version was actually recorded before the Beatles' version, but released afterward.
I don't want to leave her now. You know I believe in love.
Harrison's own solo demo was recorded on February 25th, 1969, which was his 26th birthday. And the Beatles' official site notes that this was the first time the song was committed to tape. The Beatles first tried recording it on April 16, 1969, but the release version came from a remake they did on May 2nd. And that session produced 36 takes, with Harrison on guitar, McCartney on bass, John on piano, and Ringo on drums. And Billy Preston is credited on Hammond organ. And there's one little odd leftover. At the end of the May 2nd takes, Lennon led the band into a long 6/8 jam, stretching the track to nearly 8 minutes before the whole ending was eventually cut away. But part of that musical idea did later resurface a bit faster in Lennon's solo song called Remember. When Something came out on Abbey Road in 1969, and then as a double A-side with Come Together, it marked the first Harrison-written Beatles song to appear as an A-side. The official Beatles site also identifies it as the only Harrison Beatles song to top the US charts while he was still in the band, and notes that it became the second most covered Beatles song after Yesterday. So that's the real twist. The so-called quiet Beatle, often squeezed between John and Paul, wrote the song that made everyone else stop pretending he was still in the junior division.